Good afternoon, students. Welcome to botany sessions. And today, in these videos, we are going to discuss one of the 11th chapter, plasmolysis. So it is one of the important chapter for NEET. Then, what is called plasmolysis? The Greek word plasma means cytoplasm. Lysis means breakdown. So it's nothing but breakdown of cytoplasm is called plasmolysis. See, what is called cytoplasm, how it is located in the cells. For example, if you take the cell, it's a rectangular shape, outer cell wall, inner protoplasm. It is a neighboring cell, outer cell wall. There is a bridge between the two cells is called middle lamellae. It is a protoplasm. So the protoplasm, it is a physical basis of life. It is a living part of the cell is called protoplasm. Protoplast. Protoplasts are differentiated into cytoplasm and nucleus. So the jelly-like portions of the cell is called cytoplasm. Center portion is occupied by large nucleus. It is a cell. So outer cell wall is bounded by the membrane is called plasma membrane. It is also called semi-permeable membrane or also called cell membrane. It is a cell membrane. See, the breakdown of cytoplasm is called plasmolysis. Generally, there are three types of plasmolysis. One is a incident plasmolysis, or also called initial plasmolysis. Second one is evident plasmolysis. Third one is final plasmolysis. How plasmolysis takes place in the cells? When a cell is placed under the hypertonic solutions, it is a hypotonic solution. It is a hypertonic solution. The word hypotonic is nothing but pure water, or also called solvent. It is nothing but water. It is a water. If I add any solute particles to this water, that becomes solutions. It is nothing but hypertonic. For example, it is a salt water. So, the water potential of the pure water or also solvent is nothing but zero. Maximum it's a zero. We know that how can we calculate the water potential. So the water potential, it is denoted by the symbol, Greek symbol is called psi, and it is determined by two factors. One is solute potential, another one is pressure potential. So we know the formula. How can we calculate the water potential? Water potential is determined by two factors. One is a solute potential, another one is a pressure potential. So the water potential of the pure water is zero. So here water potential is equal to 0. So what is the solute potential? Solute potential also 0. Then pressure potential also 0. In pure water, water potential, solute potential is 0. Pressure potential also 0. So what is the water potential? Solute potential plus pressure potential. So water potential also 0 and pure water are also hypotonic solution. If a cell is placed under hypotonic solutions, it is a cell, outer cell wall, inner plasma membrane. Inside the cell, solute potential is equal to -2. Because if add any solute particle that reduce the water potential, increase the solute potential. So the maximum of water potential is 0. If add any solute particle that reduce the free energy of molecules, the value becomes 0 to negative value. So solute potential 0, pressure potential, solute potential negative value -2, pressure potential 0. So we know that what is the water potential? -2. So inside the cell, the water potential is negative value. Outside the cell, the water potential is positive value, that's maximum 0. So now tell me, the movement of water molecule from where to where? From high concentration to the low concentrations. Higher concentration to low concentrations. So now move from where to where? 0 to negative value. So the water move from outside the cell to the into the cells by this process called endosmosis. Endosmosis. So when a cell is placed under the hypotonic solution, the water will enter into the cells that become turgid to maintain the turgidity of the cell, to maintain the shape of the cells. Similarly, when the cell is placed under the salt solution or also called hypertonic solution, what will happen? It is a solutions. If add any solid particle, they reduce the water potential, increase the solute potential. So in solution, pressure potential is equal to 0. Solute potential is equal to -5. In a solution, for example, in a solution, solute potential is negative value, -5 for example. So we can easily calculate what the water potential is equal to -5. Water potential is -5 in a solutions. If a cell is placed under the hypertonic solution, outer cell wall, this is a plasma membrane or also cell membrane. In a cell, solute potential is equal to -1, negative value, and the pressure potential is equal to 0. Then what is the water potential is equal to -1 inside the cells. We know that movement of water molecules from where to where? Higher concentration to the low concentration. See here, the water molecules, the water potential of the solution is -5. The water potential of inside the cell is -1 or negative value. Both are negative value. Now tell me, the movement of water molecule from where to where? High concentration to the low concentration. -1, it is higher than that of the -5. So the water will leave out from the cells by this process called exosmosis. Exosmosis. So due to exosmosis, the water leave out from the cell. So the protoplasm of the cell gets shrinking. The cell membrane is kept away from the cell wall that become flaccid. The cell become flaccids. So for example, these are the cell. The protoplasm gets shrink away from the cell wall by this process called plasmolysis. So nothing. Then what is called plasmolysis? When a cell is placed under the hypertonic solution, water will come out from the cell, protoplasm becomes shrinking. As a cell, the plasma membrane is kept away from the cell walls. The cell become flaccids. So as a cell death, wilting takes place. Wilting. What do you mean by wilting? Due to loss of water or water scarcity, what will happen? The leaf become withered. Withered, dry up. Ultimately, the leaf become drooping and shed from the plant by the process called wilting. See, in need question, wilting takes place during high transpirations. Loss of water is more, but absorption of water is very less. Under this situation, wilting takes place. If the water is come out from the cell, wilting takes place. That wilting indicate plasmolysis. Remember, plasmolysis takes place during exosmosis, and turgidity of the cells takes place during endosmosis. So, plasmolysis, based on this, there are three types. One is initial, or also called initial plasmolysis, or incipient plasmolysis. The second one, evident plasmolysis. Third one, final plasmolysis. There are three types: incipient plasmolysis, evident plasmolysis, then final plasmolysis. In incipient plasmolysis, for better understanding, we take diagram. It is a cell, outer cell wall, then plasma membrane, center cytoplasm, then nucleus. In incipient, or also called initial plasmolysis, there is no any morphological symptoms. Remember, cell is a original shape. There is no any damage. No morphological symptoms appears. There does not appear any morphological symptoms. Cell is a original shapes. It is initial. Next, separations of plasma membrane from the cell wall only at their corner. Yes, it is a outer cell wall. It is a plasma membrane, or also called cell membrane. The cell membrane is separated from the cell wall only at their corner alone. It is a cytoplasm, center, it is a vacuole, center nucleus is placed. So here it is reversible. In this type of cell, when they are placed under the hypotonic solution, they regain the water that become its original shape and size, because it is initial level. But whereas in evident plasmolysis, it is a cell and wilting appears. Already we know that what is called wilting. Wilting is nothing but due to water scarcity, the leaf become dry up and withered, ultimately shedding from the plant. So the wilting appears in this type of plasmolysis, evident plasmolysis. The next, plasma membrane is separated from the cell wall completely. It is a vacuole, nucleus. Plasma membrane is completely separated from the cell wall. It is also reversible ones. Reversible. In this type of cell, when they are placed under the hypotonic solution, or also called pure solvent, or in water, they regain the waters, absorb the water that become imbibed, and it maintain the original shape and size. It is called reversible. Incipient also reversible. But whereas in final plasmolysis, there is a severe wilting and drooping of leaf. Drooping of leaves takes place. Leaf. You know what's called drooping? See, it is a leaf. it is a normal leaf. Due to water scarcity or loss of water, the leaf become droopy. Yes, it is a drooping. So there is a severe drooping takes place, and ultimately the leaves are wither and dry up. The next, there is a complete separation of cell membrane from the cell wall, complete separation. There is a huge or large volume of shrinkage that takes place. Yes, it's a shrinkage of protoplasm, vacuole, nucleus, but in this type of cell, it is irreversible. Irreversible. I mean, this type of cell, even placed under the hypotonic solution, they could not get enough water. The water will not regain, they could not maintain the shape and the original shape and size, that become withered and drooping, leads to death of the plants. So, what are the major difference of this final plasmolysis and also incipient and evident plasmolysis? Both incipient and evident plasmolysis, these are reversible ones. They again regain the waters. But whereas in final plasmolysis, they could not regain the water, leads to death of the plants. So these are the three types of plasmolysis. The next, what is the significance of plasmolysis? See, the plasmolysis, it is exhibited only for the living cells, not for the dead cells. So it is important of plasmolysis. So this type of plasmolysis which help to test the cell whether it is a living or non-living. It's not applicable for dead cell. So plasmolysis is applicable for living. That is why it is important test for whether the cell is living and non-living. Okay, well, the next we are going to discuss other topic. The next, deplasmolysis. It's nothing. The process of reversal of effect of plasmolysis is called deplasmolysis. Reversal effect of plasmolysis called deplasmolysis. We know that plasmolysis, when the cell is placed under the hypotonic or pure water, due to loss of water by the process called exosmosis, the cell becomes shrinkage, protoplasm also shrinkage, plasma membrane is kept away from the cell wall, become flaccid by the process called plasmolysis. So, reversal effect of plasmolysis is called deplasmolysis. I mean, by transferring the cells again back from hypertonic solution to hypotonic solution. Transfer from hypertonic to hypotonic. The cell is transferred from hyper to hypotonic, that is reverse backs, and automatically the water will enter the cells become turgid. Cell become turgid to maintain the original shape and also size of the cells. By this process or by this phenomena is called deplasmolysis. For example, dry grapes. In dry grapes placed under hypotonic solution, they regain the waters that become imbibed to become your original shapes or original size. These are called deplasmolysis. Dry grapes, it is nothing but plasmolyzed cell. It is a plasmolyzed cell. I mean, the protoplasma is shrinking. That is why they are shrunken protoplasm. If they are placed under the water or pure water or hypotonic solution, they regain the waters by this process called deplasmolysis. We know that the deplasmolysis takes place due to endosmosis. end osmosis. Plasmolysis takes place due to exosmosis. So when will happen exosmosis? When a cell is placed under the hypertonic solution, either salt solution or sugar solution. When a cell is placed on the pure water or solvent, endosmosis takes place as a result deplasmolysis. Now, how can we demonstrate endosmosis? So the endosmosis can be demonstrated by using the experiment is called potato osmoscope experiment. So what are the apparatus are required for to demonstration of potato osmoscope? Beaker is essential, water is essential, boiled potato, knife, needle, concentrated sugar solution or sucrose solution. So these are the apparatus required for demonstration of endosmosis. So what are the procedure? To take a boiled potato, half of the potato should be peeled off. Remove the skin, that's called peeled off. And to make a hollow cavity at the center of the potato with the help of knife. To make hollow cavity at the center of the potato with the help of knife, and to pour concentrated sugar solution in the center hollow cavity. To mark the initial level of the concentrated sugar solution by inserting needle on the wall. Now this full setup is kept in the beaker containing waters, especially the peeled potato should be placed under the waters. This whole setup is kept in undisturbed place for 10 minutes. Undisturbed place for 10 minutes. So after 10 minutes, what we can observe, the level of the concentrated sugar solution should be rise up in the hollow cavity. Rise up. So it is the final stage. Final stage. It's the initial stages of the concentrated sugar solution. It is a final stage. What will happen? Okay, the movement of water molecules takes place from where to where? From beaker into the cells because of osmosis. So we know that what's called osmosis, movement of water molecules or any other molecules or solvent molecules from the region of its higher concentration to the region of its lower concentration through semi-permeable membrane. That is a barrier. Semi-permeable membrane. That is a regular osmosis. But here also osmosis takes place from where to where? Outside the cell to the inside the cells, because inside the cell there is a hypertonic solution, concentrated sugar solution. Outside the cell is hypotonic solutions, that is a pure solvent or water molecule. So we know that movement of water molecule from where to where? Hypo to the hypertonic solution. That is why the waters are enter into the cell become turgid. So they increase the level of the concentrated sugar solution in the potato tube. So from that experiment we can conclude that it's nothing but endosmosis. If the water will enter into the cell when the cell is placed under the hypotonic solutions. Hypotonic. When the cell is placed under the hypertonic solution, what will happen? Plasmolysis takes place. So it is nothing but deplasmolysis. Endosmosis nothing but deplasmolysis. They regain water, it becomes its original shape. That prove endosmosis. So nothing, endosmosis how can be demonstrated by using potato osmoscope experiment. The next topic, reverse osmosis. Osmosis, we know that. What is called reverse osmosis? So in reverse osmosis, it follows the same principles of the osmosis. Osmosis move from where? Higher to lower. But in reverse osmosis, in a reverse direction. The same principles is followed, but the movement of water molecule in a reverse directions. See how? In regular osmosis, normal or regular osmosis, water molecule move from hypotonic to hypertonic. It is nothing, pure water to the salt waters. If any solute particles are added to the pure solvent, it reduces its free energy of molecules, that reduce the potential of water potential reduce, that increase the solute potentials. If add some more sugar particles or solute particles to the solvent, what will happen? That increase the osmotic pressure. In pure water, osmotic pressure is very low. In hypertonic solution or salt water, osmotic pressure is high. But the value of water potential is low because maximum water potential of the pure water is 0. Where any solid particle, the value becomes negative value. So, in regular osmosis, water molecules move from hypotonic to the hypertonic, then high water potential to the low water potential. Always solution has a low water potential, and low osmotic pressure to the high osmotic pressure. Hypertonic always has the high osmotic pressure, and low dPt to the high dPt. Water molecule move from low dPt to the high dPt. dPt is nothing but diffusion pressure deficit. In a solvent or pure water, dPt is very low. If add any solid particle, the dPt is high. Up movement of water molecule from where to low dPt to the high dPt. Next, pure water to the salt. It is a regular osmosis. But what is called reverse osmosis? By applying pressure on one side. By applying pressure, atmospheric pressure, it forces the water against concentration gradient. Against concentration gradient. Regular osmosis, concentration gradient, move from higher concentration to low concentration. But we have to force the water by applying atmospheric pressure to push the waters from where to where, low concentration to the high concentration. That is called against concentration gradient. So automatically that become reverse osmosis. So in osmosis takes place from solvent. It's a pure solvent. For example, how can we demonstrate? You take U-shaped tube. In U-shaped tubes are separated by semi-permeable membrane. In one side is filled with hypotonic, another side is filled with solution or also called hypertonic. Hypertonic is nothing but salt water, and here it's pure waters. By applying force on the one side, I mean solution side, it pushes the water in reverse directions against concentration gradient. These are called reverse osmosis. So what are the uses of this reverse osmosis? These techniques are used in the purifications of drinking water. Purification of drinking waters. That is called RO. The term RO is nothing but reverse osmosis, and also used in desalination of seawater or also salt waters. So these are the essential or important or significance of reverse osmosis. Okay. The next we are going to discuss absorption of waters.